Good evening. Welcome to the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth. Well, a lot of us have witnessed the Republican National Convention. So far, Monday was a great day. We're going to be talking tonight about Tuesday night, and we're going to be taking it from there. The title of Tuesday night's theme for that night is Land of Opportunity. Of course, tomorrow will be the Land of Heroes on Wednesday, and Thursday, Land of Greatness. Okay. Kick it off. They kicked off, of course, with a prayer. They also prayed for the Blake family, for the healing of that gentleman who was in the officer-involved shooting in Kenosha, Wisconsin. I'm going to begin with a friend of mine from my hometown, Kim Klacik. Kim Klacik, the Baltimore congressional candidate whose rebuke of Democratic leaders in the big cities across America went viral last week, repeated the charge Monday's opening night of the Republican National Convention, giving a full-throated endorsement of President Trump. Here she goes. They, Democrats, have run this beautiful place right into the ground, said Klacik. Abandoned buildings, liquor stores on every corner, drug addicts, guns on the street, and now the norm in many neighborhoods. Sadly, the same cycle of decay exists in many America's Democrat-run cities across the country. Klacik, who is black, caught the eye of the GOP leaders last week with a viral campaign video, as we said earlier. The Democrats, she quoted, still assume that black people will vote for them no matter how much they let us down and take us for granted. Klacik continued on Monday night, we're sick of it. We're not going to take it anymore. The days of blindly supporting the Democrats are coming to an end. Klacik particularly took aim at Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden. She quoted, Joe Biden believes we can't think for ourselves, that the color of someone's skin dictates their political views. We're not buying the lies anymore. Mr. Biden, you and your party have neglected us for far too long, she said. The alternative, she said, is clear. And I'll quote again, we want safety in our neighborhoods. We want lower taxes. We want school choice. Klacik said, we want a chance to get ahead, not just get by. That's what President Trump promised, and that's what Trump delivered. I'm asking you, she says, to help President Donald J. Trump complete this great American comeback. And then I'm asking you to help this great Baltimore comeback by voting for her in the upcoming election. The Democrat Party have betrayed the black people of Baltimore. If politicians walk the streets like I do, they would see exactly how their policies and corruption affect us, Klacik said in the video, highlighting a crumbling infrastructure, abandoned homes, poverty, and crime. It's not just Baltimore, the worst place for a black person to live in America is a Democrat-controlled city, continued Klacik, who is black, as we said earlier. It's 2020, name a blue city where black people's lives have gotten better. Black people don't have to vote Democrat. Very clear. Black people do not have to vote Democrat. That's why I became a Republican many years ago. Klacik is running against Representative Kwaisoon Fume, a former president of the NAACP, who in April won a special election for the seat vacated after the death of Representative Elijah Cummings. And I want to say something. Since I'm from Baltimore, you can say what you please, but Mr. Kwaisoon Fume was caught many years ago when he first ran for office for lying, saying he had a college degree and he didn't have it, and from a school he never attended. So that gives you an idea of what we're looking at in Baltimore. Okay, moving on. Republican National 2020 Convention, football great Herschel Walker throws a block for President Trump. Well, we're going to take a break here on the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert. We'll be right back at you in a moment.
Dr. Melinda Morris supports a strong economy, safe neighborhoods, limited property taxes, and promotes an improved education system. Dr. Melinda Morris wants to improve access and insurance coverage for medical care. Dr. Morris is pro-life and will support right-to-life legislation in Austin. Dr. Morris will remain true to her values when she is elected to office. She is going to Austin to promote life, prosperity, and personal freedom for the constituents of Senate District 13.
Welcome back. You're watching the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth. Former gridiron great Herschel Walker, who once played for a team owned by President Trump, lined up for the incumbent at 2020 Republican National Convention on Monday and swatted down allegations that the commander-in-chief is a racist. He quotes, he said, it hurt my soul to hear the terrible names that people call Donald, said Walker, who is black. I take that as a personal insult, he said, that people would think I've had a 37-year friendship with a racist. Growing up in Deep South, I've seen racism up close. I know what it is, and it isn't Donald Trump, he says. Walker addressed Trump's hardline stance against athletes who protest social issues by kneeling during the national anthem. A disgrace, that is. That's my words. Quote, just because someone loves and respects the flag, our national anthem, and our country, it doesn't mean they don't care about social justice, he said. He shows how much he cares about social justice in the black community through his actions. Actions speak louder than words. That's me again. And his actions speak louder than stickers and slogans on jersey. And that's what Mr. Walker said. Walker, a Heisman Trophy winner at the University of Georgia, kicked off his professional career with the short-lived USFL. New Jersey's Generals owned 1984 to 1985 by President Trump. Quote, he learned about the history of the team, the players, the coaches, every detail, said Walker. I watched him that treated janitors, security guards, and waiters the same way you would treat a VIP. But Trump can also be fierce when in pursuit of his goals, Walker said. He leaves nothing on the field. The retired running back said, some people don't like his style, the way he knocks down the obstacles that get in the way of his goals. People on the opposing team didn't like when I ran over them either. But that's how you get the job done. So, you might not like a Democratic Party or Joe Biden and the gang there, but I'm sorry. Step away, because Donald J. Trump is coming through. And if you don't get out of the way, he's going to mow you down. Well, next up on the agenda, we're going to look into this wonderful speech by our First Lady, Melania Trump. Melania Trump talked about the coronavirus, compassion, during the Rose Garden RNC speech. First Lady Melania Trump on Tuesday urged voters to support her husband, President Donald J. Trump's re-election, and offered words of comfort for coronavirus pandemic victims during the address from the Rose Garden. She quotes, it has been inspiring to see what the people of our great nation will do for one another, especially when we are at our most fragile, she said in a speech during the second night of the Republican National Convention. The 30-minute live speech was the climax of the night's most virtual convention. Events and featured small audience in the newly renovated Rose Garden. President Trump sat in front of the row, on the front row. Melania Trump offered condolences for the people impacted by COVID-19 pandemic and racial unrest and shared her personal immigration story, giving a softer sales pitch for her husband. I want to acknowledge the fact that since March, our lives changed drastically. The invisible enemy, COVID-19, she said, swept across our beautiful country and impacted all of us. My deepest sympathy goes out to everyone who has lost a loved one, and my prayers are with those who are ill and are suffering, she said. I know many people are anxious, some feel helpless. I want you to know you're not alone. My husband's administration will not stop fighting until there is an effective treatment or vaccine available to everyone. Donald will not rest until he has done all he can to take care of everyone impacted by this terrible pandemic. She said that in the future, we will look back and tell our grandchildren with true kindness and compassion, strength, and determination we were able to restore the promise of our future. The First Lady spoke at the montage of media clips praising her performance as First Lady, beaming a strode down colonnade toward the podium near the Oval Office to applaud. President Trump and Vice President Mike Pence were among the audience. Tiffany Trump attacked tech and media giants, praises dead economy at the Republican National Convention as well. Melania Trump, 50, was born in Yugoslavia and moved to New York City in the 1990s to work as a fashion model. Her first language is Slovenian. As a young child, she said, in Slovenia, which was under communist rule at the time, I always heard about an amazing place called America, a land that stood for freedom and opportunity. As I grew older, it became my goal to move to the United States of America and follow my dream working in the fashion industry, she said. After 10 years of paperwork and patience, I studied for the test in 2006 and became an American citizen. It is still one of the proudest moments in my life, she said. Her speech reflected on recent racial unrest following the May killing of George Floyd by Minnesota police, recounting her travels in Africa where she learned about transatlantic slave trade. She called on protesters to stop the violence and looting being done in the name of justice, and people to never make assumptions based on the color of a person's skin. She goes on to say, no matter the amount of negative or false media headlines or attacks from the other side, Donald Trump has not and will not lose focus on you. And that is correct. As the First Lady, Melania Trump's signature social initiative is Be Best anti-bullying campaign that urges children to be kind to one another online, a message that sometimes appears at odds with the president's tweets against his detractors opposed. Yeah, but what are they saying about them? Sometimes I hate the way these news articles, because I'm reading from an article taken from a different magazine, taking some excerpts from there, and it gets me how they do that. Well, when you're going to be talking about President Trump's tweets, why don't you talk about what they're saying about him that's not a tweet on TV and the mainstream media? She goes on to say, in my next 4 years as First Lady, I will continue to build upon the best work in individual states to pass legislation to take care of our most vulnerable, she said. Let me read a couple more quotes, and then we're going to close it out here with this speech. Total honesty is what we as citizens deserve from our president. Whether you like it or not, you'll always know what he's thinking, she said. That's the same way my mom was. And this is because he's an authentic person who loves this country and its people and wants to continue to make it better. She married President Trump in 2005. Their son, Barron, is 14 years old. Melania Trump is the Jackie Kennedy of her time, White House trade advisor Peter Navarro said Tuesday in a TV interview. Melania Trump Chief of Staff Stephanie Grissom told MSNBC on Tuesday that every word in this speech is from her. It is very authentic and is going to come from her heart. Anyway, we're going to take a short break right now here on the Black Conservative Voice. You're watching the Black Conservative Voice here on the CTM News Network, and I'm your host, David Colbert. We'll be right back at you in a moment.
Joe Biden, 47 years in Washington, 47 years of failure, skyrocketing healthcare and drug prices, higher taxes on working families, disastrous trade deals, jobs shipped to China and Mexico, total failure. Now Biden's embraced the failed policies of the radical left. The biggest tax increase ever, massive job-killing regulations, amnesty for illegal immigrants. After 47 years of failure, we've had more than enough.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Welcome back. You're watching the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, the voice of... The speech follows a report Monday that a former friend of Melania Trump, Stephanie Whitson, Wolkoff, secretly recorded the First Lady criticizing her husband. Wolkoff, whose event planning firm received $26 million for work on Trump inauguration, reportedly is writing a tell-all book. Give me a break. It's really unfortunate to take advantage of somebody's trust like that while being a friend, Grissom said on Tuesday night. Yes, it is. It's really disturbing. It's really discouraging in this present climate that we find ourselves in here in this country. Eric Trump calls Joe Biden giant relief for terrorists, pushover for China at the RNC. President Trump's son, Eric Trump, on Tuesday trashed Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden as a total pushover who would be a giant relief for terrorists. Eric Trump, speaking on the second night of the 2020 Republican National Convention, cast his father as a successful first-time politician running against a Democrat who's done little, very little Hillary Clinton has done, or Joe Biden. Most politicians spend their entire careers in Washington and get absolutely nothing accomplished. For example, Joe Biden is a politician who has been in government for 47 years, Eric said. He's a career politician who has never signed the front of a check and does not know the slightest thing about American workers or American business, the engine which fuels the greatest economy the world has ever known, he said. The same politician who is a total pushover for the communist Chinese and someone who would be a giant relief for terrorists who now spent years running, hiding, and being taken out. Eric Trump, 36 years old, took a leading role managing the president's business empire after he took office in 2017. He's married to Trump campaign advisor Laura Trump. Trump Jr. says Biden will crush the working man and woman in a blistering RNC speech earlier. He is less involved in politics than his older sibling Donald Trump Jr. and Ivanka Trump, who followed Trump to the White House as an advisor. But Eric Trump, occasionally seen at the White House events, has spoken campaign rallies, warmed the crowd, and Eric Trump's public remarks often closely with his father. We're going to do a couple more quotes from his speech. He goes on to say, reporters, if the reporters don't see my father for 3 minutes, they're complaining that he's not being transparent. Joe Biden hasn't been seen in 79 days in the media, gets him a complete pass, Eric Trump said in Tulsa, Oklahoma. On Tuesday, he also offered a lengthy list of what he said were his father's accomplishments. I'll go over that. We want to We've been hearing this, but it's including the killing of Islamic State leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, Iranian General Qasem Soleimani, and he mentioned tax cuts, building a Mexico border wall, peace in the Middle East, appearing to refer to recent normalization of relations between Israel and the United Arab Emirates. He says this: "I miss being alongside you every day," he said to his father, "but I'm damn proud to be on the front lines of this fight. I am proud of what you are doing for this country. I am proud to show my children what their grandfather is fighting for. I am proud to watch you give them hell," Trump said to his dad. Never stop. Continue to be unapologetic. Keep fighting for what right you are making Americans strong again. You are making America safe again. You are making America proud again. And yes, together with forgotten men and women who are finally forgotten no more, you are making America great again. And he says this to his dad, and this touch almost made me cry. He said, "Dad, let's make Uncle Roberts proud. Let's go get another 4 years in office." Well, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be back in a moment with our closing.
Commander-in-Chief. It's more than just a job. Since taking office, President Donald Trump has rebuilt our military, repaired a broken VA, and eliminated Soleimani, al-Baghdadi, ISIS, the world's deadliest terrorists brought to justice. Today, America is safer and stronger than ever. Because to President Trump, it's more than just a job. It's a sworn duty to keep America safe.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Welcome back. You're watching the Black Conservative Voice on the CTM News Network, the Voice of Truth, and I'm your host, David Colbert. We have advertising space available. If you're interested in advertising during one of our commercial breaks, you're welcome to contact us by email, and we will send you contracts or whatever for advertising. Our rates are extremely cheap. We're cheaper than most local areas, even here in the United States. And we do receive views from at least 10 to 50,000 people each episode. So this is a viable advertising, especially for the people in Texas and New York, which are some of our largest viewers. Well, anyway, I want to thank you once again for joining me here on the Black Conservative Voice, here on the CTM News Network. I'm David Colbert, and I want to say, as I always do, God bless you, God bless America, and God bless the world. Until next time, this is David Colbert saying good night.